What is office overhead insurance and why would someone need it?
An illness or injury can have a devastating effect upon your ability to earn a living and serve the needs of your clients. When you become totally disabled and can't work during a given period of time, several types of insurance are designed to keep the income flowing and pay your bills. I should first mention disability insurance, because disability and office overhead asset protection strategies are closely related, at least for some psychologists. Disability insurance keeps your income coming in when you become disabled and as a result can no longer work during a given period. When people think of their assets, which might include their savings, home, automobiles, and so on, they often neglect to include their job and the income it produces. It is a primary means to protect loved ones and maintain a living standard. So disability insurance is the income part of the equation. If you work from your own space, office overhead insurance kicks in to keep your office doors open. It pays regularly occurring business expenses, and it is an inexpensive solution for psychologists who itemize office expenses on their federal income tax forms.
Can you describe regularly occurring business expenses in more detail?
Sure. Regularly occurring business expenses are just what you would think they would be. Things like rent, mortgage interest payments, employees' salaries and their payroll taxes, automobile leasing costs, office telephone charges and telephone answering services, office utility charges, including electricity, heating, air conditioning, office cleaning expenses, building maintenance expenses, interest on office equipment loans, outside billing services, accountants' fees, property, state and local taxes, professional liability insurance, office property liability insurance, interest charges on a business loan, dues for national, regional, and state professional associations, and many other miscellaneous expenses that are usual and fixed and needed for the conduct and operation of one's office. The list goes on and on. Another way to put it is all those monthly bills that pile up when you're focusing on getting well.
Are the odds of disability really that great?
As I mentioned when talking about disability, statistically, the odds are 1 in 4. Here's a few revealing statistics. The Social Security Administration estimates that 1 in 4 20-year-olds will become disabled and unable to work before they reach age 67. That's 1 in 4. Over 37 million Americans are classified as disabled today, about 12% of the total population. More than 50% of those disabled Americans are in their working years from ages 18 to 64. In 2012, more than 650,000 disabled workers received more than $9 billion in long-term disability benefits through their employer-sponsored group disability income protection programs.
Let's say you've been paying into Social Security. Won't your Social Security disability benefits cover expenses?
Social Security disability benefits may pay for some living expenses, but they won't likely be sufficient to cover all living expense and business expenses. It's a common misperception that the government or some other benefactor will cover all of your needs if you're seriously injured or ill. And Social Security disability benefits are actually not that easy to obtain. To qualify, you often need to be disabled to the extent that you won't be expected to return to the workforce. The Social Security benefits you receive also likely won't come close to matching your current income. Here's an interesting statistic. Around 70% of applicants are initially denied Social Security disability benefits. Of those that do eventually qualify, and let's say their annual income is $75,000, they might only receive around 40% of that income from the government during their period of disability. Even if you have substantial savings or retirement funds to use, why would you want to burn through them and have to start over?
Steve, who can apply for coverage?
You are eligible to apply if you are a psychologist or allied health professional, are under age 65, reside in the United States, and you are working at least 20 hours per week.
And how do you estimate the amount of coverage that you really need?
While most office overhead policies offer similar basic expenses, some group policies may tailor eligible expenses to the profession they are covering. So always make note of what specifically is covered and what is not. You can get started by listing the business-related expenses you include on your income tax form, such as your Schedule C or your Form 1120. You may need to exclude some of those expenses if they are not covered by the policy you plan to purchase.
Do you have to prove your insurability to obtain office overhead insurance?
Yes. Like life and disability insurance policies, eligible applicants must answer some questions regarding their health, medical history, lifestyle choices, and so on.
What questions should you ask when considering office overhead insurance?
Like disability and life insurance, I would start with the basics. What specifically does the policy cover and what is excluded? What are the monthly benefits? How long of a waiting period before benefits kick in? Over what period of time are benefits paid? Up to what age? Is the definition of disability your own occupation? Are expenses such as professional association dues covered? Are unused benefits forfeited at month's end, or are they banked for use the following month?
What is the difference between office overhead and a business office policy?
This is just generally speaking. As mentioned earlier, office overhead insurance covers the regularly occurring overhead expenses incurred in professional practice. Business office insurance, on the other hand, has more to do with physical commercial property, business personal property, and general liability.
The trust offers office overhead insurance. How does that compare to other policies?
I think it compares well. Similar to its income protection and term life insurance, the trust office overhead policy is a group policy which typically offers lower rates for the same coverage than many individual policies. The premium rate is based solely on the favorable claims experience of only psychologists, going back to the program's inception in 1975. It also uses the your own occupation definition throughout the period of disability. When you combine it with the trust income protection policy, you could rest a lot easier knowing that if you're seriously injured or ill, you can continue to support yourself and your loved ones, keep your office doors open, and not burn through your nest egg.
Steve, is there anything else you would like to tell us?
As a reminder, I'll give you one more statistic about someone's chances of becoming disabled. A typical female, age 35, 5 feet 4 inches, 125 pounds, a non-smoker, who works mostly in an office environment with some outdoor physical activity, and who leads a healthy lifestyle, has the following risks. A 24% chance of becoming disabled for 3 months or longer during her working career. A 38% chance that that disability would last 5 years or longer, and with the average disability for someone like her lasting more than 6 years. A typical male, age 35, 5 feet 10 inches, 170 pounds, also a non-smoker, who works an office job with some outdoor physical activity and who leads a healthy lifestyle, has the following risks. A 21% chance of becoming disabled for 3 months or longer during his working career. A 38% chance that that disability would last 5 years or longer, and with the average disability for someone like him lasting more than 6 years.
Thanks so much for this information, Steve. How can we learn more?
If you would like to learn more about office overhead insurance or quickly estimate your coverage and premium with no obligation, simply visit the Office Overhead tab right on this website, trustinsurance.com.